The rhythmic beep of the barcode scanner was a familiar, almost hypnotic sound in Sarah Vance's world. In her late 20s, Sarah was a quiet, unassuming young woman, her dark hair often pulled back in a simple ponytail, her expression one of diligent focus as she meticulously scanned groceries at Checkout Lane 3 of Grand Mart, a sprawling national grocery chain. To her colleagues and the endless stream of customers, she was just Sarah Miller, a perfectly ordinary cashier, perhaps a little slow at times due to her deliberate movements, but always polite and efficient. Yet beneath this meticulously crafted facade, Sarah was a brilliant, tenacious, undercover investigative journalist, pursuing nothing less than a massive corporate fraud scheme, a web of deceit far grander than anyone in this mundane grocery store could ever imagine. Her days began before the first hint of dawn, a silent ritual of preparation. She'd arrive at Grand Mart, the vast store eerily quiet, and methodically set up her cash register, testing the scanner, organizing the plastic bags. As the store hummed to life, she'd begin her shift, her eyes, though seemingly focused on the conveyor belt, intently observing every detail. The subtle habits of customers, the nervous glances exchanged between certain employees and managers, the unusual frequency of specific product deliveries. Her social interactions were minimal. She rarely engaged in small talk, ate her meager lunch alone in the break room, but her mind was a constant whirl of analysis, piecing together fragments of information. Tucked discreetly into her apron pocket was a worn but unassuming notebook, its pages filled not with grocery lists, but with coded observations, suspicious transaction numbers, and cryptic notes on inventory discrepancies. Despite the immense pressure of her secret mission, Sarah harbored a deep, quiet empathy, a moral compass that guided her every action. One chilly morning, she noticed a young, nervous teenage stock clerk, no older than 15, discreetly taking expired food items from the discard pile in the back, furtively stuffing them into his worn backpack. Sarah knew he was struggling to feed his family. Instead of reporting him, a move that would cost him his job and perhaps his livelihood, she quietly, and without being seen, left a gift card for a local affordable grocery store tucked into his locker, a silent act of profound generosity. It was a stark contrast to the corporate greed she was meticulously exposing, a quiet demonstration of her commitment to justice, not just for the public but for the unseen individuals caught in the system. Subtle threads of mystery wove through Sarah's quiet life, hints of the dangerous world she inhabited. Around her neck, hidden beneath her uniform, she wore a small, tarnished silver locket. Inside, nestled against her heart, was a faded photograph of her late mentor, a legendary muckraking journalist who had died under mysterious circumstances while investigating corporate corruption, a death Sarah suspected was no accident. She frequently received anonymous, encrypted messages on a burner phone she kept hidden in her apron pocket. These messages, filled with cryptic financial data, internal memos from Grand Mart, and whispered details of illicit dealings, hinted at a hidden network of whistleblowers, courageous individuals willing to risk everything to expose the truth. Sometimes in the quiet solitude of her small apartment, she would mutter cryptic phrases in her sleep. Hidden ledgers, phantom profits, words that were fragments of the complex corporate fraud she was unraveling. Her personal laptop, a powerful machine disguised as an ordinary consumer model, ran a unique, almost archaic, data analysis program she had designed herself, capable of deciphering complex financial irregularities that would elude standard auditing software. This unassuming cashier, with her quiet demeanor and seemingly ordinary life, was, in fact, the silent architect of a colossal corporate takedown. The web of deceit tightens. The deceptive calm of Sarah's double life was abruptly shattered by a critical anonymous tip that landed like a lead weight in her encrypted burner phone. The sender, A high-level whistleblower within Grand Mart, known only by a cryptic codename from her late mentor's vast network, transmitted a chilling truth. Grand Mart was engaged in a rapidly escalating corporate fraud scheme. They were deliberately manipulating inventory records and supply chains to sell expired baby formula and tainted produce, specifically targeting low-income neighborhoods. The scheme was about to go national, leveraging Grand Mart's vast distribution network to maximize illicit profits and cover up egregious health violations. This discovery hit Sarah with the force of a physical blow, reverberating through her very core. It wasn't just abstract corporate fraud, it was a direct, insidious threat to vulnerable communities, including the very neighborhoods where she, as Sarah Miller, meticulously scanned groceries every day. Children, innocent families, people like the young stock clerk she'd secretly helped, were being poisoned for profit. This deeply personal connection, the echo of her mentor's valiant, ultimately fatal, fight against similar injustices, fueled her resolve, igniting a cold, burning determination within her. The immediate antagonist in her daily grind, unknowingly a key figure in the very fraud she was exposing, was Mrs. Evelyn Thorne. Mrs. Thorne was a wealthy, influential socialite, a major investor in Grand Mart, and secretly a direct beneficiary of the illicit profits from the tainted food scheme. She was driven by an insatiable greed and a profound contempt for anyone she perceived as beneath her, often treating service staff, particularly cashiers, with open disdain. Outwardly charming and impeccably dressed, she was inwardly cold and utterly manipulative. She recognized Sarah only as a slow cashier, an insignificant annoyance in her carefully curated world of luxury and power. The very next day, Mrs. Thorne, in a calculated display of arrogance, deliberately targeted Sarah's checkout lane. She wore a forced, saccharine smile, but her eyes glittered with disdain. She piled her conveyor belt high with an excessive amount of groceries, then began to complain loudly about Sarah's slowness and perceived incompetence. Her voice, a piercing whine, carried across the busy checkout area. "Honestly," she drawled, drawing the attention of other customers, "one expects a certain level of efficiency, even from a cashier. Some people just lack ambition, don't they? Content with such menial tasks." She made condescending remarks about Sarah's lack of vision for a successful career, implying she was fit only for menial tasks. She reveled in Sarah's polite, unwavering professionalism, viewing it as weakness, a silent confirmation of Sarah's supposed inferiority. Her public shaming was a deliberate act of humiliation designed to assert her superiority. The public humiliation, coupled with the escalating urgency of the fraud, pushed Sarah to a critical breaking point. The anonymous tip had detailed the scale of the operation, the lives at risk. She knew, with chilling certainty, that she had to gather the last, undeniable piece of evidence. A hidden, encrypted server log containing direct orders from Mrs. Thorne regarding the tainted products, complete with timestamps and payment receipts. She realized this meant risking her meticulously maintained cover, her personal safety, and her entire career. The profound shock of discovering that Mrs. Thorne, her petty tormentor, was also directly involved in the monstrous fraud, solidified her resolve. She would expose Grand Mart, and she would bring down Evelyn Thorne. She began formulating a daring plan, focusing on the upcoming annual Grand Mart Community Day, a public event designed to showcase Grand Mart's benevolence. It would be the perfect, ironic backdrop for her ultimate confrontation. This was the point of no return. The unseen connection. The fluorescent lights of Grand Mart hummed with a monotonous drone, casting a sterile glow over the bustling aisles. For Sarah, working her checkout lane was a meticulous dance, her movements precise, her smile polite, masking the intricate dance of observation and analysis happening beneath the surface. Today, the store felt particularly charged, the air thick with the subtle tension of her escalating mission. Mrs. Evelyn Thorne, a vision in designer activewear, navigated the aisles with an air of entitled ownership. Her shopping cart, laden with organic produce and gourmet cheeses, seemed to glide effortlessly. She frequently made eye contact with the store manager, a nervous, sweating man named Mr. Henderson, who was clearly a minion in the fraud scheme. Mrs. Thorne would offer a quick, dismissive nod, a silent reminder of her power, before continuing her meticulous selection of items. She subtly observed Sarah, annoyed by what she perceived as the cashier's slowness and deliberate pace. A quick, dismissive text about Sarah's incompetence was already composing itself in her mind, destined for Mr. Henderson's inbox. Sarah, keeping her focus on the conveyor belt, activated a disguised portable scanner hidden within the palm of her hand. Her target, a specific pallet of supposedly expired baby formula, discreetly tucked away in a corner of the organic produce section, an area Mrs. Thorne had just meticulously inspected. The formula, despite its expiration date, was part of the ongoing fraud, relabeled and pushed to low-income neighborhoods. As Mrs. Thorne moved away from the pallet, Sarah subtly reached out, her hand brushing against a box. The scanner, disguised as a ring on her finger, emitted a faint, almost imperceptible chirp. It picked up a hidden barcode on the underside of the box, linking it to the fraudulent inventory system. More crucially, as it scanned, it also briefly picked up a stronger encrypted signal from a nearby source, revealing the precise location of Grandmart's hidden internal server, the very heart of the fraud, tucked away in a supposedly innocuous back office. Just as Sarah completed her scan, Mrs. Thorne, having finished her circuit, strode towards Sarah's checkout lane, cutting in front of a tired mother with a stroller. Her impatience, already thin, snapped at Sarah's methodical scanning. "Are you quite finished?" Mrs. Thorne's voice, a piercing whine, cut through the ambient noise of the store. "Some of us have places to be, unlike you. One would think with such a simple task, you could manage a modicum of speed." She then loudly complained to Mr. Henderson, who was hovering nearby, about Sarah's incompetence, implying she was deliberately slowing down, perhaps even stealing time from the company. She made a particularly cutting remark about Sarah's lack of vision for a successful career, mocking her simple job. "Honestly, Mr. Henderson, what does it take to find competent help these days? This woman is clearly content with just scanning. No ambition. No future." As Mrs. Thorne delivered her scathing monologue, a tiny, almost imperceptible chip, part of Sarah's hidden scanner, accidentally detached from Sarah's glove. It was a keylogger chip, designed to covertly record data from Mrs. Thorne's conspicuously visible phone, which she kept nestled in her open designer purse. The chip, no bigger than a grain of rice, slid unnoticed onto the conveyor belt. Then, with a faint, almost inaudible click, rolled off into Mrs. Thorne's grocery cart, nestling among her expensive organic vegetables. Mrs. Thorne, oblivious, simply pushed her cart away, her self-satisfied sneer still in place, carrying the unwitting Trojan horse with her. Sarah, hidden from Mrs. Thorne's view by the next customer, managed to discreetly retrieve the encrypted data from her scanner. She now had the precise location of the hidden server and, thanks to Mrs. Thorne's own arrogance, a direct pathway into her digital communications. A quiet, observant older man seated on a nearby bench, reading a newspaper, had witnessed the entire exchange. It was Mr. Davies, a retired corporate auditor known for his sharp eye for detail and his unwavering integrity. He frequently shopped at Grandmart, finding a quiet routine in its predictable bustle. He observed Sarah's calm professionalism, despite the cruel public shaming and Mrs. Thorne's overt disdain. He noticed the tiny chip fall, saw it disappear into Mrs. Thorne's cart, sensing a subtle undercurrent, a discrepancy in the ordinary flow of things. He didn't yet understand the full implication, but his instincts, honed over decades of uncovering hidden truths, told him something was deeply amiss. He was an unseen helper, a silent witness to a truth that was about to unravel. The network of deceit, The looming shadow of Grand Mart's annual Community Day cast a chilling pall over Sarah Vance's already tense existence. This massive public event, ostensibly designed to showcase Grand Mart's benevolence and commitment to local communities, was, in reality, a meticulously crafted charade. It was the perfect cover for Mrs. Evelyn Thorne and her complicit executives to finalize their insidious fraud, leveraging the chaos and the temporary unsecured public Wi-Fi network that would connect directly to Grand Mart's internal system for event logistics. Sarah knew this network was her only pathway to the damning evidence. The event was held at the largest Grand Mart store, the very hub of the tainted product scheme, amplifying the danger and the stakes. Sarah now possessed two crucial pieces of intelligence: the precise location of Grand Mart's hidden encrypted server and the keylogger chip she had subtly planted in Mrs. Thorne's grocery cart. She knew the server logs contained irrefutable evidence implicating Mrs. Thorne and Grand Mart's executive board in the large-scale fraud: direct orders, falsified records, payment receipts for the tainted baby formula, and produce. The stakes were impossibly high. She also knew, with chilling certainty, that the internal server logs reset every 24 hours to hide the fraud, automatically purging the most recent, most incriminating data. She had a narrow, critical window during the chaotic Community Day to access the server and download the damning evidence before it vanished forever. Her plan was a high-wire act of infiltration and digital subterfuge. She would have to navigate the crowded, high-security store using her Cashier disguise as camouflage. Her unique data analysis program, designed to decrypt complex financial irregularities, would be her weapon. Her keen observational skills, honed by years of covert reporting, would be her shield. The risk of being caught was immense, potentially ending her career, exposing her true identity, and putting her in grave danger from a ruthless corporate entity willing to poison children for profit. She was utterly alone in this mission, the weight of countless unseen victims resting solely on her shoulders. As the morning of Community Day dawned, the Grand Mart store pulsed with a manic energy. Banners proclaiming community health and freshness guaranteed fluttered ironically. Live cooking demonstrations, face-painting booths, and local charity stalls created a bustling, chaotic atmosphere. Mrs. Thorne, radiant and perfectly poised, moved through the crowds, shaking hands, offering saccharine smiles, making a public appearance designed to project an image of benevolent leadership. Unbeknownst to Mrs. Thorne, her public display of benevolence was about to be turned against her. Mr. Davies, the retired corporate auditor, was also present at Community Day, drawn by his quiet routine and a subtle, nagging suspicion about the pervasive public Wi-Fi network. His instincts, honed over decades of uncovering hidden irregularities, were piqued by the network's unusual configuration. He noticed suspicious network activity related to the public Wi-Fi, particularly an unusual data flow to an obscure internal IP address. Using a small, discrete device he carried, a hobbyist's network analyzer, he subtly identified a vulnerable node in the network, a weak point where the hidden server seemed to be located. He immediately and anonymously sent a detailed report of this vulnerability to an obscure public tech forum he knew Sarah monitored for investigative leads. He was her unseen helper, unknowingly pointing her directly to the exact weak point, providing the final, crucial piece of information for her digital infiltration. The stage was set. The final act of truth was about to begin. The unveiling of truth, the fall of a titan. The air in the enormous convention hall, where Grand Mart's Community Day was in full swing, thrummed with a deceptive festivity. On the main stage, under the glare of spotlights and television cameras, Mrs. Evelyn Thorne radiated an artificial glow, her smile wide and practiced. She was delivering a live televised presentation on Grand Mart's unwavering commitment to community health and wellness, standing before a massive screen meant to display glowing financial projections and heartwarming images of happy customers. She was smug, supremely confident that her vast corporate fraud, hidden beneath layers of digital obfuscation, was utterly secure. Beneath the stage, in the bustling, chaotic backdrop of the event's technical nerve center, Sarah Vance moved with the quiet intensity of a predator. Disguised as a diligent tech support volunteer, her hands deftly navigated a complex array of cables and blinking servers. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat of anticipation. She had located the hidden server, its vulnerable node exposed by Mr. Davies's anonymous tip. This was it. This was the moment. She discreetly accessed the server, her unique data analysis program slicing through its encryption with silent precision. In a blur of keystrokes, she rapidly began downloading the damning logs, tens of thousands of lines of code, explicit directives, falsified inventory records, massive illicit profits, and irrefutable proof of the deliberate sale of expired baby formula and tainted produce. As the data streamed into her encrypted drive, she subtly activated a pre-programmed data mirror within the system, ensuring that the evidence wouldn't just vanish into her drive, but would propagate, waiting for the perfect trigger. The trigger came with chilling precision. Suddenly, the large screen behind Mrs. Thorne, meant to display her glowing presentation, flickered. A ripple of confusion spread through the audience. Mrs. Thorne paused, a flicker of irritation crossing her face, her practiced smile faltering. Then, with a jarring snap, the screen switched. It displayed not her presentation slides, but the raw, unedited server logs. The images on the screen were stark, terrifyingly explicit. Meticulously detailed records of deliberately falsified inventory, production dates altered, health inspection reports doctored. Lines of code scrolled, displaying direct orders, signed by Mrs. Thorne herself, to prioritize the distribution of expired baby formula to low-income neighborhoods, complete with timestamps and payment receipts from shell corporations. As if that weren't enough, the audio from the hidden keylogger on Mrs. Thorne's phone, unknowingly planted in her cart days earlier, subtly connected to the public sound system. Her smug, callous voice, clear and chillingly audible, now filled the hall, discussing the fraud with a co-conspirator. "The poor won't notice," her voice drawled from the speakers, "and the profits are immense. Just keep rotating the stock." The dramatic irony was absolute, brutal, and exquisitely delivered. Mrs. Evelyn Thorne froze mid-sentence, her face draining of all color, her eyes wide with a profound, terrifying realization. She saw herself on the screen, her own voice condemning her, her carefully crafted facade crumbling into dust. "No, this is impossible! A hack! A lie!" she shrieked, desperately attempting to tear down the screen, her designer nails scraping uselessly against the glass. But it was too late. The evidence was overwhelming, irrefutable. She collapsed, her legs giving way, surrounded by a swarm of bewildered journalists, horrified Grand Mart executives, and outraged community members. The audience, comprised of cynical journalists, bewildered Grand Mart employees, incensed community leaders, and, most powerfully, affected residents, erupted into pandemonium. Gasps of shock turned into shouts of outrage, then a roar of furious vindication. Cheers erupted from those whose families had been poisoned, whose trust had been betrayed. Police officers, already on alert due to a discreet tip from Mr. Davies, moved in swiftly. Sarah, watching from a hidden corner of the control room, felt a profound, satisfying surge of justice. The Titan had fallen, undone by her own arrogance and the unwavering light of truth. A new chapter. A clean slate. The full force of the law, fueled by public outrage and irrefutable evidence, descended upon Mrs. Evelyn Thorne and Grand Mart. Mrs. Thorne was immediately arrested, her attempts at denial and deflection falling flat under the weight of the meticulously gathered server logs and the audio from her own phone. She faced multiple charges of corporate fraud, conspiracy, and endangering public health, her once unassailable reputation utterly destroyed. Grandmart, now exposed as a complicit entity in a heinous scheme, faced massive investigations, a devastating collapse in stock prices, and widespread public backlash. The company was forced to issue a nationwide recall of all tainted products and pay astronomical fines and restitution to the affected communities. Its image, once synonymous with affordability, was now irrevocably linked to deceit and poisoned trust. For Sarah, the immediate aftermath was a whirlwind of professional validation and profound personal relief. Her exposé became a national sensation, earning her a Pulitzer Prize for investigative journalism. She was hailed as a hero, a courageous symbol of journalistic integrity who had dared to stand against corporate malfeasance. Her true identity, Sarah Vance, was finally revealed to the world, and major national newspapers vied for her talent. She accepted a prestigious investigative journalism position at the Sentinel, a renowned publication known for its unwavering commitment to truth and justice. One quiet afternoon, in her new, bustling newsroom office, Sarah sat with Mr. Davies, the retired corporate auditor who had unwittingly provided her with the crucial tip. He now served as her trusted mentor, his sharp intellect and unwavering integrity an invaluable asset in the subsequent sprawling investigations into Grandmart's fraud. "You know, Mr. Davies," Sarah began, a rare, tired smile gracing her lips, "I never thought I'd see a company like Grandmart brought down. They seemed invincible." Mr. Davies, his eyes twinkling behind his spectacles, nodded. "No entity is invincible, Sarah, when truth and integrity are wielded with courage. You were the one with the vision to see past the facade and the courage to act." He then spoke of her late mentor, the muckraking journalist whose death remained shrouded in mystery. "She would be incredibly proud of you, Sarah. You finished her fight." Sarah then made a pilgrimage to the Grandmart store where she had worked undercover. The atmosphere was different now. New, ethical leadership had taken over, working tirelessly to rebuild trust. She found the young stock clerk she had helped, still working there, his face no longer shadowed by fear. She approached him quietly, revealing her true identity. His eyes widened in stunned disbelief, then awe. Sarah offered him a full scholarship for further education, ensuring his future would be bright, unburdened by the struggles she had once witnessed. She explained that his quiet integrity, his simple act of taking food for his family, had been a reminder of the very human cost of the corporate greed she fought against. "Don't ever lose that integrity," she told him, her voice soft but firm. "It's your greatest asset." It was a gesture of profound kindness, a symbolic passing of the torch, ushering in a new chapter, a clean slate for countless lives affected by the sweeping changes she had wrought. The towering glass and steel structures of the city now shimmered with a new ethos, a tangible shift in the corporate landscape. Sarah Vance, no longer an undercover cashier, was a revered figure in investigative journalism. Her name, synonymous with courage and integrity, graced the masthead of the Sentinel as its lead investigative editor. Her groundbreaking work continued to expose corruption and champion social justice, her articles leading to significant policy changes and fostering increased corporate accountability nationwide. She had, almost single-handedly, altered the trajectory of the grocery industry, prompting sweeping reforms that prioritized consumer health and ethical practices over illicit profits. Her commitment to truth extended beyond the printed page. She established the Muckrakers Legacy Fund, a robust non-profit that provided full scholarships for aspiring investigative journalists from diverse backgrounds. She ensured that the next generation of truth-seekers was empowered, equipped with the skills and ethical compass necessary to navigate the complex world of corporate malfeasance. She personally mentored young journalists, her wisdom and unwavering dedication inspiring them to pursue stories that truly mattered. Beyond journalism, she poured resources into funding community health clinics in underserved neighborhoods, directly combating the lingering effects of corporate negligence, a poignant act of healing for the communities Grandmart had once exploited. She occasionally returned to her former Grandmart store, now under new, ethical leadership, a beacon of transparent and community-focused grocery chains, a quiet observer of the positive change she had ignited. The story ends on a quiet evening in Sarah's bustling newsroom office. The soft glow of her computer screen illuminated a wall adorned with framed, impactful headlines, a testament to the many battles fought and won. Her Pulitzer Prize, a heavy bronze medallion, gleamed softly on her desk. She touched the tarnished silver locket around her neck, its faded photo of her mentor, the muckraking journalist who had died too soon, a silent source of inspiration. Outside her window, the city lights twinkled, a constant reminder of the unseen battles fought and won, illuminated by the unwavering, enduring light of truth. If this story stirred your heart, if it reminds you that courage can alter destinies and that light always finds a path even in the deepest darkness, please leave a comment. Share this story with those who need inspiration. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss our upcoming stories.